The stars glimmered on the curved glass wall of the Galactic Council chamber. 53 alien species had gathered today, their bodies as different as the worlds they came from. Some floated in bubbles of special gas. Others stood on mechanical legs. A few were just clouds of light. Commander Zix Thaler sat straight in his chair. His blue skin reflected the soft lights above. He was from the Azurian people, known for their careful thinking and calm minds. His 4 eyes blinked as he waited for the council leader to speak. "We have detected signals from planet Earth," announced Council Leader Vrelx. Her voice translator made her words clear to everyone. "This is unusual because Earth is a Class 13 world." Whispers filled the room. Even Zix Thaler felt surprise. The Council rated all planets from Class 1 to Class 15. Class 1 worlds were perfect paradise planets. Most aliens came from Class 3 to 5 worlds. Anything above Class 10 was called a death world, too dangerous for intelligent life. Earth was Class 13. Almost as bad as it gets. "How can anything live there?" asked a representative from the peaceful Eridani. "The planet has terrible storms, moving ground plates, thousands of poisonous creatures, and radiation from its sun. Not to mention the oxygen," added another alien. "That gas would burn most species alive from the inside." Vrelx raised her 6 limbs for quiet. "The signals might be from an old probe or a natural source, but we must check. Commander Zix Thaler, your ship is closest to that sector. You will go to Earth and find out what's making these signals." Zix Thaler stood and placed his right hand over his chest in the formal greeting. "It will be done, Council Leader." 3 days later, Zix Thaler stood on the bridge of his ship, the Starseeker. The blue-green planet filled the main screen. It looked peaceful from space, but the commander knew better. His science officer, Trelna, read from her data pad. "Earth has over 8 million different animal species. For comparison, most Class 5 worlds have less than 10,000. It has oceans covering 70% of its surface, with unknown creatures in its depths. The air contains nitrogen and oxygen, a highly reactive mix. The weather includes ice storms, lightning, tornadoes, and hurricanes. The ground itself moves and breaks open sometimes, causing earthquakes and volcanoes." Zix Thaler nodded. "How could anything evolve there?" "It gets worse," Trelna continued. "The planet experiences regular impacts from space rocks. Its magnetic field is irregular, and the temperature ranges from -50 to +50 units, depending on location." The navigation officer spoke up. "Sir, we found the source of the signals. They're coming from all over the planet. Thousands of different sources." "Show me," ordered Zix Thaler. The screen changed to show dots of light covering the planet, mostly near coastlines. Each dot was a source of radio waves, digital signals, or other communications. "This is impossible," whispered Trelna. "These are artificial signals. There must be intelligent life down there. On a Class 13 world. Nothing could survive there, let alone build a civilization," said Zix Thaler, but the evidence was clear on the screen. "Sir," the sensor officer called out, "we're detecting artificial satellites in orbit, thousands of them, and there are constructed objects on the planet's moon." Zix Thaler stared at the screen. His training had not prepared him for this. No one in the Council's history had ever found intelligent life on a Class 13 world. "Prepare a stealth shuttle," he ordered. "We need to see these creatures up close. Whatever can survive on Earth must be the toughest species in the galaxy." As the crew prepared for their mission, Zix Thaler looked again at the blue-green planet. The Council had been wrong. Something lived on that deadly world. Something that had built cities, launched satellites, and even visited its moon. Something that called itself human. Lieutenant Samantha Gordon stood on the deck of the U.S. Defender. The research vessel moved slowly through the Pacific Ocean. Her crew was studying underwater volcanoes. Sam loved the sea. She had joined the Navy 10 years ago and never regretted it. "Lieutenant, We got something strange on radar, called Jack, the radar operator. His eyes were fixed on the screen in front of him. Sam walked over and looked at the screen. What am I looking at, Jack? I'm not sure. It entered our atmosphere about 3 minutes ago. It's moving too slow to be a meteor and too fast to be a plane. And its path is weird, like it's steering itself. Sam frowned. Military? Don't think so. No known signatures. And it's coming down about 50 miles west of us. Sam thought for a moment. Protocol said she should call it in right away. But she was curious. How long would it take us to reach that location? About an hour at top speed. Set course. Let's take a look. Sam picked up the radio. I'll inform headquarters we're investigating an unusual weather phenomenon. Up in the sky, things were going badly for Commander Zixthaler and his crew. Their shuttle shook violently. What's happening? Zixthaler shouted over the noise. The pilot, Mix, fought with the controls. The atmosphere is more violent than we expected. There's some kind of electrical storm hitting us. Our stealth field is failing. Zixthaler looked out the window. Dark clouds surrounded them. Bright flashes of light, lightning, the Earth creatures called it, struck near the ship. To most species in the galaxy, this kind of electrical discharge was rare and deadly. On Earth, it happened thousands of times every day. The primary power core is damaged, reported Trelna. We need to land and make repairs. Find a remote spot, ordered Zixthaler. We can't risk being seen. Mix pointed to the ship's map. There's a large body of water below us. No signs of settlements nearby. Take us down. The shuttle broke through the clouds. Rain pounded against the ship's hull. Below them stretched the vast Pacific Ocean, its waves white-capped and angry. This is normal weather for this planet, asked Trelna in disbelief. According to the data, yes, replied Zixthaler. A common storm, nothing special. The shuttle hit the water with a splash and floated. Inside, the aliens activated their emergency beacon, which would signal the main ship in orbit. Repair robots began working on the damaged power core. How long until we're operational? Asked Zixthaler. At least 6 hours, said Trelna. Maybe more. Keep the stealth systems on emergency power. We can't risk. Commander, interrupted Mix. Sensors are picking up an approaching vessel. It's moving directly toward us. Zixthaler rushed to the view screen. Through the rain, he could make out a gray shape moving across the water. How did they find us so quickly? Trelna wondered. Maybe they didn't, said Zixthaler. Maybe it's just chance. Either way, we need to prepare for contact. He turned to his crew. Remember, these creatures evolved on a Class 13 death world. They must be incredibly dangerous and hardy to survive here. Be ready for anything. On the U.S. Defender, Sam watched through binoculars as they approached the mysterious object. The storm made it hard to see clearly. Whatever it is, it's just sitting there on the water surface, said Jack. It looks like a ship of some kind, Sam replied, but unlike any I've ever seen. As they got closer, Sam could see that the object was smooth and oval-shaped, with no visible windows or doors. It had a metallic surface that seemed to shimmer slightly, even in the dim light of the storm. Lieutenant, called the communications officer, we're picking up some kind of signal from that thing. It's not like anything in our database. Sam lowered her binoculars. Her heart beat faster. She had a feeling this was bigger than underwater volcanoes. Slow approach. Ready the small boat. I'm going to take a closer look. Sam sat in the small boat as it bounced over the waves. 2 sailors rowed while Jack manned the radio. The rain had eased, but the sea was still rough. Headquarters wants us to wait for backup, Jack said, holding the radio to his ear. Tell them we're just looking, Sam replied. Her eyes never left the strange oval object floating on the water ahead. As they got closer, part of the smooth metal surface suddenly slid open. Sam held up her hand, and the sailors stopped rowing. Hello, she called out. We're from the United States Navy. We mean no harm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a figure appeared in the opening. Sam blinked in surprise. The creature had blue skin, 4 eyes, and stood on 2 legs. It wore some kind of tight suit with blinking lights. "That's not human," whispered one of the sailors. "No kidding," Sam replied. She took a deep breath and called out again. "We come in peace. Can you understand me?" The blue creature held up a small device. A light scanned over Sam and her crew. Then the device made a soft beeping sound. "We understand your language now," said the creature. Its voice sounded strange and flat. "I am Commander Zixthaler of the Galactic Exploration Fleet. Are you human?" Sam nodded slowly. "Yes, I'm Lieutenant Samantha Gordon of the United States Navy." She pointed to the U.S. Defender in the distance. "That's our ship. We detected your craft and came to investigate." "You approach unknown objects without fear?" asked Zixthaler. He sounded surprised. "It's our job to investigate," Sam replied. "May I ask why you're here?" Inside the alien shuttle, Trona whispered to Zixthaler. "They look so fragile. How do they survive on this world?" Zixthaler agreed. The humans had no protective shells, no extra limbs for defense, and their skin looked so soft. Yet they had approached a strange object in the middle of a storm without hesitation. "We are researchers," Zixthaler told Sam. "Our ship was damaged by your weather. We need to make repairs." "We can help," Sam offered. "Would you like to come aboard our vessel? We have tools and supplies." The aliens looked at each other in shock. Invite strangers aboard their ship. These humans were either very brave or very foolish. "Thank you," Zixthaler said finally. "I will come. My crew will stay here to continue repairs." 20 minutes later, Zixthaler stood on the deck of the U.S. Defender. He wore a special suit that protected him from Earth's atmosphere, which his people considered toxic. The human crew kept a respectful distance, but they all stared at him. "So you're really from another planet?" asked a man named Dr. Alan Wells. He was the ship's science officer. "We've always wondered if we were alone in the universe. There are thousands of intelligent species in our galaxy," Zixthaler explained. "But we never expected to find life on a Class 13 world like Earth." "What's a Class 13 world?" asked Dr. Olivia Martinez, the ship's linguist who had been called to help with communication. "Planets are classified by danger level," said Zixthaler. "Class 1 is paradise. Class 15 is impossible for any life. Your Earth is Class 13, what we call a death world. The radiation from your sun, your oxygen atmosphere, your weather, the moving ground plates, the variety of poisonous creatures. By our standards, this planet should be uninhabitable." The humans exchanged looks. "But Earth seems pretty normal to us," said Sam. "That's what makes you so remarkable," replied Zixthaler. He watched in amazement as Sam took a drink from her water bottle. "You just consumed dihydrogen monoxide, a universal solvent that would kill many species." Helen laughed. "You mean water? We need it to live. Our bodies are mostly water." Zixthaler's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "You are filled with a corrosive liquid, and you stand in your sun's radiation and breathe oxygen gas voluntarily." "Well, yes," said Olivia. "Don't you?" "No species in the known galaxy could survive what you consider normal," said Zixthaler. "You humans are extraordinary." 3 days later, a small group of aliens and humans stood in Washington, D.C. Zixthaler and 2 of his crew members had agreed to meet with Earth's leaders. They wore special suits that they believed protected them from Earth's dangerous environment. "Your cities are massive," said Trona, looking up at the tall buildings. "How do you protect them from the moving ground?" "You mean earthquakes?" asked Sam, who had been chosen as their guide. "We build them to flex and bend, but DC doesn't get many earthquakes." Dr. Olivia Martinez pointed to the Washington Monument. "That stone structure has stood for over 150 years. The aliens looked at each other in surprise. Buildings that lasted centuries on a Class 13 world seemed impossible. And so many humans in one place, said Mix, the pilot. Our scans show over 700,000 individuals in this city alone. That's nothing, said Dr. Alan Wells. New York City has over 8 million people. 8 million. Zixthuller could hardly believe it. Your species has thrived here. A black car pulled up, and a woman in a dark suit stepped out. Welcome to Earth, she said with a smile. I'm Secretary of Defense Katherine Johnson. The President has asked me to host you for dinner tonight. The aliens bowed in their traditional greeting. We are honored, said Zixthuller, though we cannot remove our protective suits to eat your food. Katherine laughed. We've prepared a special room for you where you can be comfortable. Our scientists have been working with your specifications. That evening, the dinner was held at the White House. A special room had been set up with air similar to the aliens' homeworld. Inside this room, Zixthuller and his crew could remove their suits. Several important humans sat at a long table. There was Katherine Johnson, Admiral Peter Ross from the Navy, Dr. Elaine Baker from NASA, and a few others. The aliens sat on one side in their special section. Try this, said Admiral Ross, passing a plate of food through a small opening in the barrier. It's similar to plants from your world. Zixthuller took a small bite. The taste was strange, but not unpleasant. Then he noticed what the humans were eating. Is that the flesh of another creature? He asked, pointing to the steak on Katherine's plate. Yes, it's beef, she replied. From cattle. The aliens looked horrified. You consume other animals? Asked Trelma, voluntarily. Many humans do, said Dr. Baker, though some are vegetarians and only eat plants. And what is that liquid? Asked Mix, pointing to the wine glasses. Wine, said Admiral Ross with a smile. It's made from grapes that are fermented. Fermented? Zixthuller was shocked. You drink spoiled food juice containing alcohol. That's poison. The humans laughed. In small amounts it's fine, said Katherine. Some people even enjoy it. The conversation continued, with each revelation about human habits causing more amazement among the aliens. Humans slept for hours each day, lying unconscious and vulnerable. They played sports where they deliberately collided with each other. They climbed mountains for fun. They swam in the ocean where large predators lived. I must ask, said Zixthuller finally, do you know how special you are? No other species we've encountered could survive here, let alone build a civilization. Katherine looked surprised. We've always thought of Earth as a perfect planet for life. It's wet, warm, has oxygen, and is the right distance from our sun. For you, yes, said Zixthuller, because you evolved here. But for most intelligent species, this world would kill them in minutes. Admiral Ross leaned forward. Are you saying we're the tough guys of the galaxy? Admiral, replied Zixthuller, based on what I've seen, humans might be the toughest intelligent species ever discovered. The humans looked at each other with new understanding. They had never thought of themselves as special. But through alien eyes, they were seeing the truth. Earth humans had evolved on a world so harsh that most aliens considered it uninhabitable. And yet, here they were, not just surviving, but thriving. Dr. Alan Wells sat in his lab, surrounded by screens of data. For the past week, he had been studying the information that Zixthuller shared about other planets and species. What he discovered was changing how he saw the universe and humanity's place in it. Find anything interesting? Asked Sam as she entered the lab with 2 cups of coffee. Alan took a cup gratefully. The Galactic Council's classification system is all wrong, at least from our perspective. How so? Sam sat down next to him. They rate planets by how safe they are for the average galactic species. But there is no average species. Each evolved for their specific world. Alan pointed to a chart on his screen. Look at this. Most council worlds have between 1,000 and 10,000 different animal species total. Earth has over 8 million. That's a huge difference, Sam agreed. It's all about evolutionary pressure, Alan continued, excited now. On worlds with fewer species and less environmental change, creatures don't need to adapt as much. But Earth has been through 5 mass extinctions. Our planet's history forced life here to become incredibly adaptable. So humans aren't special because we're tough, Sam said, understanding. We're special because we had to adapt to so many different challenges. Exactly. We drink water because our cells evolved with it. We breathe oxygen because early Earth life changed the atmosphere, and we adapted. We eat both plants and animals because our ancestors needed to find food in changing conditions. The door opened, and Olivia Martinez walked in with Captain Dominic Rodriguez. The captain had been sent by Naval Command to monitor the situation. He was tall, serious, and always in uniform. Dr. Wells, Lieutenant Gordon, he nodded formally. Any progress? Ellen quickly explained his findings. Captain Rodriguez listened carefully, his expression growing more concerned. So what you're saying, the captain said slowly, is that humans are like super beings to these aliens. In terms of adaptability, yes, Alan replied. We can survive in deserts, jungles, Arctic regions, mountains, and even underwater for short periods. We can eat almost anything. We recover from injuries that would kill other species. To them, we're incredible. That makes us a potential threat, said Rodriguez. If I were them, I'd be worried about humans spreading throughout the galaxy. But we're peaceful, protested Olivia. We've welcomed them warmly. We have, agreed Rodriguez, but think about it from their perspective. They've just discovered a species that can survive conditions that would kill them instantly, can eat almost anything, heals quickly, and multiplies rapidly. We're their worst nightmare. The room fell silent as they considered this. Zixteller doesn't seem afraid of us, Sam said finally. He seems fascinated. He's a scientist and explorer, said Rodriguez. But what about their military, their governments, their scared citizens? How will they react? Just then, Sam's phone rang. It was Secretary Johnson. Lieutenant Gordon. Catherine's voice was tense. We've received a message from the Galactic Council. They want a meeting with Earth's leaders immediately. It seems word has spread about humans. What did they say exactly? Asked Sam. They said there's an emergency council session about the situation on Earth. Zixteller tried to explain, but he said some species are calling for a quarantine of our entire solar system. Sam looked at her friends with worry. They're afraid of us. We need to show them they don't need to be, said Olivia. We need to show them that human adaptability can be helpful, not threatening. How do we do that? Asked Rodriguez. Alan thought for a moment. We need to change how they see us. Instead of being scary super beings, we need to be valuable allies who can help them solve problems they can't solve alone. Like what? Asked Sam. Like surviving on worlds they consider too dangerous to explore, Alan said, a plan forming in his mind. We could help them reach resources they can't access, build colonies on worlds they thought were uninhabitable. We could be the galaxy's pioneers, Olivia finished his thought. As they discussed ideas, none of them noticed the small drone outside the window, recording everything they said and sending it directly to the Galactic Council. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was filled with representatives from 53 spacefaring species. The curved walls showed images of Earth, its oceans, mountains, deserts, and cities. At the center of the hall, Zixteller stood alone, defending humans to the Council. They are not a threat, he insisted. Yes, humans are remarkably adaptable. Yes, they live on what we call a death world. But they are peaceful explorers, just like us. Council leader Vrelks raised her 6 limbs for silence as voices rose in protest. Commander Zixteller, she said, your report has caused great concern. These humans drink poison, eat other creatures, expose themselves to radiation, and sleep in a death-like state. They have thousands of languages, hundreds of nations, and they still fight among themselves. How can we trust such beings? A representative from the Varaxian Empire stood up. The Varaxians were known as warriors with tough scaled skin and sharp teeth. These humans must be quarantined, he growled. If they spread into the galaxy, who knows what they might do? They could settle on worlds we consider uninhabitable and build an empire larger than any in history. They have already shown their nature, added a floating ball of light from the Meridian Collective. Our spy drone recorded their conversation. They plan to be pioneers for the galaxy, spreading to worlds we cannot live on. Zixtheller shook his head. You misunderstand them. They were discussing how they could help us, not threaten us. Next, a representative from the Eridani stepped forward. The Eridani were peaceful, with 4 arms and skin that changed color with their emotions. I see opportunity, not threat, said the Eridani, her skin turning a hopeful green. Human adaptability could help us explore worlds we've avoided. They could build outposts on harsh planets rich in resources we need. At what cost? Asked the Varaxian. Once humans have outposts everywhere, what stops them from taking control? They breed quickly and eat almost anything. They're the perfect invasive species. The debate continued for hours. Some species saw humans as dangerous. Others saw potential allies. A few were simply curious about the strange beings from Earth. Meanwhile, on Earth, the news of alien contact had spread worldwide. People reacted with excitement, fear, or disbelief. Social media was filled with alien memes. Religious leaders offered their thoughts. Scientists appeared on TV to discuss what this meant for humanity. In a small TV studio in New York, a man named Frank Miller prepared for his evening broadcast. Frank had been a Marine before becoming a journalist. His show, The Frank View, had become popular for its straightforward talk about the alien visitors. We're living 5, 4, 3. The producer counted down. Good evening, America, and hello to any aliens who might be watching. Frank began with his usual smile. Tonight, we're discussing what it means to be the tough kids on the galactic block. He showed clips from interviews with scientists and the few released videos of the aliens. According to our visitors, Earth is like the extreme sports park of the galaxy. What seems normal to us is terrifying to them. Our air is poison, our water is acid, our food would kill them, and our weather is a horror show. Frank leaned forward, his expression serious. But here's the thing, folks. We're not special because we're mean or scary. We're special because we adapt. Humans live in the Arctic and the Sahara. We climb mountains and dive in oceans. We've walked on the moon and survived in space. We're not the bullies of the universe. We're the survivors. Across the world, billions of humans watched their screens, thinking about their place in the cosmos. For the first time, they saw themselves through alien eyes, as incredibly tough, adaptable beings who called a death world home. Back in the council chamber, Zixthaler made his final plea. Yes, humans are different, but different doesn't mean dangerous. Before you judge them, I ask one thing. Visit Earth yourselves. Meet these remarkable beings. Then decide. The council grew quiet, considering his words. The United Nations building in New York was packed with world leaders. For the first time in history, every nation had sent representatives. They all wanted to be part of this historic decision. How should humanity respond to the galaxy? Ambassador Lisa Chen stood at the podium. As head of the newly formed Human Galactic Relations Committee, she had a difficult job. The Galactic Council has sent us their message, she said. Some alien species fear us. Others are curious. A few want to be our friends. We must decide how to answer them. President Ward of the United States spoke first. We should show our strength, not to threaten, but to earn respect. We can offer our help exploring harsh worlds that other species find dangerous. But we must also show we are peaceful, added the French president. We don't want the galaxy to see us as a threat. The debate continued for hours. Some nations wanted to focus on defense, building ships with alien technology to protect Earth. Others wanted to learn all they could from the more advanced species. A few were worried about Earth's cultures being changed by alien contact. In the back of the room, Frank Miller took notes for his new show. As a journalist, he had been invited to observe. What he saw gave him hope. Despite their differences, the world's nations were working together. "We need to stop thinking like separate countries," said the Nigerian representative. "To the galaxy, we are all just humans." Many nodded in agreement. For the first time, Earth was truly facing a challenge as one people. After 3 days of meetings, they reached a decision. Ambassador Chen would lead a human delegation to meet the Galactic Council. They would bring examples of human art, music, and science to share. They would offer to help explore harsh worlds. And they would ask to join the galactic community as equals, not as a threat or a curiosity. Meanwhile, outside the UN building, people gathered in huge crowds. Some held signs welcoming aliens to Earth. Others protested, worried about alien influence. News crews interviewed people from around the world. "I'm excited to meet beings from other stars," said a young teacher from Brazil. "Think of all we can learn." "I'm concerned," admitted an older farmer from Canada. "Will our way of life change? Will we lose what makes us human?" A group of children from a New York school had made a giant banner that read, "The universe is big enough for everyone." Social media was filled with discussion. Hashtags like #AlienFriends and #HumanStrong were trending. People shared their hopes and fears about the future. In his small apartment, Frank Miller prepared for his most important broadcast yet. His show had become one of the most watched in the world since the aliens arrived. "Good evening, Earth," he began. "Today our leaders made a historic choice. We will not hide in fear. We will not threaten with strength. Instead, we will extend a hand of friendship to the stars." He showed clips from the UN meeting and street interviews. "Yes, we humans are tough. We evolved on a world that other species find terrifying. But being tough doesn't mean being cruel. The same adaptability that helps us survive can help us understand others. The same courage that lets us face storms can give us the bravery to meet new friends without fear." Frank looked directly into the camera. "To any aliens watching, we humans have a saying. Don't judge a book by its cover. Yes, we drink what you call poison. Yes, we enjoy standing in radiation from our sun. Yes, we eat strange things and sleep for hours each day. But we also create music and art. We care for our old and our sick. We dream of peace even when we fail to achieve it. Judge us by our hearts, not by our biology." Across Earth, billions watched and waited. In 2 weeks, the human delegation would leave for the Galactic Council. The future of humanity would depend on what happened there. 6 months had passed since first contact. Today was the most important day in human history. The Earth delegation stood outside the great doors of the Galactic Council chamber. They had traveled for 2 weeks on an alien ship to reach this space station. Admiral William Carter adjusted his uniform nervously. As the military leader of the delegation, he represented humanity's strength. Beside him stood Dr. Olivia Martinez, Ambassador Lisa Chen, and 5 other humans chosen to represent Earth's diversity. "Remember," said Ambassador Chen quietly, "we are not here to apologize for being human. We are here to show them who we really are." The massive doors slid open. The delegation walked into a huge room filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Some floated in the air. Others sat on special chairs designed for their strange bodies. All turned to stare at the humans. Council leader Vrelk spoke first. "The delegation from planet Earth may approach." The humans walked forward. They had practiced this moment many times. Each wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's new symbol, a circle containing all the continents, surrounded by stars. "Honorable Council," began Ambassador Chen, "we come in friendship. We understand that our world seems dangerous to you. We know that our abilities may seem frightening, but we ask you to judge us by our actions, not by your fears." Admiral Carter stepped forward next. "To show you the true nature of humans, We have prepared a demonstration. The lights dimmed. On large screens around the chamber, videos began to play. They showed humans in many different environments on Earth. A woman planting trees in a forest that had burned. A doctor treating sick children in a poor village. Rescue workers pulling people from a collapsed building after an earthquake. Scientists working together to develop clean energy. Children from different countries playing together. Yes, we can survive in harsh conditions, explained Dr. Martins. But we use that strength to help others, not harm them. The council watched in silence. Some seemed moved by the images, others remained suspicious. Then came the final part of their plan. The humans had brought special challenges designed by the council's scientists. Each challenge represented conditions that different alien species found impossible to survive. Admiral Carter entered a chamber filled with high pressure that would crush most species. Dr. Martins demonstrated working in caustic atmosphere similar to what some aliens breathed. A human engineer named Ben Powell showed how humans could function in extreme heat. A human athlete named Maya Patel demonstrated strength in high gravity. In each case, the humans not only survived but performed useful tasks. They built structures, repaired equipment, and solved problems in conditions that most council species found deadly. When the demonstrations ended, the humans returned to face the council. "We do not ask for special treatment," said Ambassador Chen. "We ask for partnership. Earth has been alone for thousands of years. We want to join the galactic community and share what makes us unique." The council chambers filled with the strange sounds of aliens talking among themselves. Finally, Council Leader Vrelks raised her limbs for silence. "The council has reached a decision," she announced. "Earth will not be quarantined. Humans will be welcomed as the newest members of the galactic community." Cheers erupted from the human delegation. But Vrelks wasn't finished. "Furthermore, we propose the creation of a new galactic academy on Earth. There, species from across the galaxy can learn from humans about adaptation and survival. In return, humans will learn from us about space travel, medicine, and other sciences." As the humans left the council chamber, Zixteller was waiting for them. "Congratulations," he said, bowing slightly. "You have changed how the galaxy sees your kind." "We had a good teacher," replied Admiral Carter, extending his hand in the human gesture of friendship. 6 months later, the first Galactic Academy opened in the Himalayan mountains on Earth. Aliens from across the galaxy came to learn from the humans who called a death world home. And humans prepared to take their first steps into the stars, not as conquerors, but as explorers and friends. The species that had once been feared became the galaxy's greatest teachers.